Welcome to U-Counsel. Effective October 6, 2020, you can file probate applications with Ontario courts electronically. How do you do that? We will explain in today's lecture. Before we begin, a quick reminder that this lecture is not legal advice. If you have any specific questions, you should contact a lawyer or a paralegal or the Law Society of Ontario for a referral. What is a probate application? This is an application you file with the court for the appointment of an estate trustee for an estate. If a person is already named as an estate trustee in the deceased will, then you can file this application so that the court can confirm the authority of that person as an estate trustee. And if you want the court to confirm the validity of the last will of the deceased, you can file a probate application to confirm that. Why do you need a probate certificate? There are various circumstances in which you may need a probate certificate and you have to file an application. One instance is when a person died without a will, and of course the assets needs to be dispensed, and that would be done through the appointment of an estate trustee. If there is a will but there is no estate trustee that is named in that will, you would still need to file for a probate application and get appointed. And most of financial institutions would require some sort of a proof. Number one, that the will you are presenting as an estate trustee is in fact the last valid will of the deceased, and also that the estate trustee who is presenting himself or herself to dispense the financial assets of that person is truly the estate trustee and has that authority through the court. Sometimes there are disputes about who should be the estate trustee. And that can be resolved through a probate application. And if there is some dispute or potential dispute about the validity of a will, then it can be dealt with through a probate application. Now keep in mind that probate application is not the same as estate litigation. That's a completely different matter, and that is not handled through this mechanism that I'm explaining today. There is a separate process for estate litigation which is not covered today. If it is a new probate application and you wish to file it electronically, you can do so by email. And there are different email addresses for different courts. So you go on this website, I've provided the link. You go on that website, identify which court office you would like to file your probate application, and then note down the email address. You will have to complete what's called a new application form, and it is in the links that I will provide at the end. So you have to complete that new application form. You have to complete, obviously, the whole application, the probate application, and the supporting documents, which could be affidavit of service and consent and proof of death, etc. So the entire application that you have to complete anyway, ordinarily for paper filing, you will have to do electronically as well. So you have the whole package ready for filing and to be sent by email. Now, when you send the email, you have to consider some specific requirements for the email. Number one, in the subject line of your email, you will have to use some specific acronyms to identify the nature of your matter, and that is explained in the notice of profession, which is identified in the last slide I will show, where we have all the resources. You also need to note that each email size cannot exceed 35 megabytes. All the documents that you're attaching must be in PDF format and no other format, and you should note that each court form should be a separate PDF. So you should not compile all the documents in one PDF. Each court form is a separate PDF. So make sure that you follow these instructions so that your application can be processed. Otherwise, the court may send back your application or reject it. Now, you have sent the application by email, but there are certain steps that you may have to do by mail courier depending upon your circumstances. If you are sending any original documents, or you have to send original documents with your application, for example, wills or codicils or bonds, then those documents must be sent to the court office by mail or courier. And of course, this is going to be the same court office where you have sent your email. If you have to file estate administration tax or filing fees, then those fees cannot be done electronically. You will have to send those payments by mail or courier. If you already have an existing probate application in the system, you can still use the electronic format. You can resend your application by email to the relevant court office. And what is important to note is that even though you're resending the application, you keep your spot in the queue. And remember that whatever documents you're sending electronically, now those will be the documents that court will rely on and not the documents that you have submitted in hard copies. If you intend to file your probate application electronically, here are some of the resources. Notice to Profession about electronic filing. This is the document, this is the notice issued by the court, which allows the electronic filing as of October 6th, 2020. It has a lot of information in it. If you are planning to file your probate application, please review this notice, consolidated notice for Profession. If you're looking for court forms, you can go to ontariocourtforms.on.ca and get all your forms. If you're looking for the email address, here's the link. And if you require any assistance or guidance with respect to your probate application, Ministry of Attorney General has these excellent guides that you can review. Thank you for watching.